We want to look at this question related to the money multiplier, where we're given that assume the economy has a central bank along with the banking sector that collects deposits. We're given the ratio of reserves to deposits, that is theta is equal to 0.1, and we're given the ratio of currency to deposits, and you want to find the value of our money multiplier. So now we know from the text that money multiplier is given to us in the text as 1 by c plus theta 1 minus c. Now theta over here is the reserve deposit ratio given 0.1, which is given to us, right? It's a reserve deposit ratio. What fractional deposits do you keep as reserves? Now let's look at C. Now here's important to note what C represents in this formula in the text. Note C is a fraction of total money demand MD held as currency CUD. Because remember, when we allow for commercial banks other than the central bank, then we know that now basically you don't just have to decide how much of your wealth do you want to keep in the form of money and how much do you want to keep in the form of bonds, but you also have to decide how much of that money do you want to keep in the form of currency and how much do you want to keep in the form of deposits, right? That's another decision that you have to make. C represents how much of your total money demand do you decide to hold in the form of currency, because now you have to make a decision of what type of money do you want to hold, currency or deposits. So C is essentially CUD divided by MD, right? So this is what CUD is. So C is basically, this is how the book defines C. CUD divided by MD. Now the question, however, gives us ratio of currency to deposits rather, rather than ratio of currency to money demand. We know C in itself is the ratio of currency to overall money demand. But the question gives us the ratio of currency to deposit. So we will first find C. So just keep in mind 0.25 is not the C in this particular formula where money multiplies 1 by C plus theta 1 minus C. In this formula, theta represents the reserve deposit ratio and C represents what fraction of total money demand is held as currency, not the currency to deposit ratio. So if we're given the currency to deposit ratio, then we will have to find C in this formula. So let's see how will we do that now. So recall, as you mentioned, that in the case where the economy has a banking sector that collects deposits, has a banking sector that collects deposits, people can keep money in the form of currency or deposits. Right? So you have a choice of the type of money you want to keep. People can keep money in the form of currency or deposits. Right, so over here, demand for currency, which is CUD, is given to us as CMD, where, like we said, small c is what fraction of total money demand is kept in the form of currency. Demand for deposits is DD is 1 minus CMD, because if C is what fraction of total money demand is currency, then because you can either keep money in the form of currency or deposits, demand for deposits is 1 minus CMD. So ratio of currency to deposits is CUD divided by DD. So it's like CMD divided by 1 minus CMD. So it's equal to C by 1 minus C. Now we know that C by 1 minus C is 0.25. So the key to remember over here is this 0.25 is not C, right? It's C by 1 minus C, right? So the key to remember here is in the question we're not given the ratio of currency to money demand, which in the formula of the money multiplier 1 by C plus theta 1 minus C is C, but rather it's C by 1 minus C, which is the ratio of currency to deposit. So from here now we can find C. So then this would be C is equal to 0.25 minus 0.25 C. So then this becomes 1.25 C is 0.25. So C is 0.2. Now this is the C I can plug in the formula, right? So now we can find the money multiplier as. Let me just clear this all up. All drawing. So money multiplier, which is 1 by C plus theta 1 minus C is 1 by 0.2 plus 0.1 minus 0.2. And this turns out to be, so we can simplify this as 0.2 plus 0.1 into 0.8. So V is equal to 3.57. Right, so this is our many multiplier. So the key takeaway from this question, what was the key takeaway in this question? So the key takeaway over here is be careful whether you're given, be careful of whether, be careful of whether, um, be careful of whether you are given ratio of currency to money demand, which is what C represents. See, or ratio of currency to deposits, in which case you need to find C first, like we did in this question. Need to find C yourself. And so that's the key takeaway. So you need to see what you're given, right? Over here, like we said, we were given C by 1 minus C given. So find C first, right? Because in that formula, with money multiplies 1 by C plus theta 1 minus C, it's important to keep in mind theta is the reserve deposit ratio and C is given to us as C is defined as currency by money demand. So if you're given ratio of currency to deposits, you first find C.